YouTube, we got Chef Reese on the train on the way to Machu Picchu. Let me show you what we got. Oh, you want me to take it up? You see the mountains? Oh. And then we bring it right back to Chef Reese. So we're sitting here chopping it up. Got a few topics. He has taught me a lot about seasonings, peppermints. Sometimes I forget them. A lot of times I forget them.
All the time.
Yeah. But one of the things he talks about the most is slowing down when you cook and cooking with love. So what does cooking with love look like?
You know, when I think about like cooking generally, it's about the idea of like bringing flavors and ingredients together. In order for you to do that well, you need two things need to happen. You need to have some basic understanding of like how to cook, like how to turn on the stove, all those things. But more importantly, it's really about like thinking about like how things come together. In order for you to really understand that, it requires you to take a little time, a little energy, and some patience. And oftentimes we don't want to demonstrate those things because we, especially in America, we sort of like think that everything has to be quick and fast, and we need to like have a shortcut for everything. But I think cooking with love is about like avoiding the shortcut. It's about thinking about the ways in which you want to enjoy that meal and what needs to go into the meal in order for you to enjoy that. And some of that requires time. And so even if it's like, you know, I only have a Sunday, let's spend your Sunday like cooking. Spend your Sunday figuring out what are the things you want to enjoy for that week. But in order to do that, you got to be thoughtful about it. You can't just throw some shit together, because what happens? You get shit when you throw shit together.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that's probably, you know, it just requires some patience, requires intention. So if you like, for example, you ain't got time during the week to cook, let's do some meal prep on Sundays. Like think about like what are the things you want to have. Cooking with love is about intention.
One of the things that he will always say is, Charlie, what is the thing that you always go out and buy from the restaurants and try to cook that, try to recreate that?
Yeah.
And for me, when you try and it don't turn out the way you want it, or it don't turn out the restaurant way,
you ain't gonna try it again.
It gets discouraging. So how would you inspire someone to continue even when their efforts don't turn out to their expectations?
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact of the matter is we do a lot of things. We'll try a lot of things at one time, and it may not come out the way we want. And depending on what it is, outside of food, you're usually willing to try again. You're willing to try to like let your mind figure out how to make it better. I think food requires the same sort of level of intention. Use it as a challenge, like, you know, like try to break it down. Maybe instead of just going out and just buying a bunch of ingredients you think go into it, break the thing down. What did you like about the particular meal or the particular item? Is there a way to like, you know, change it up a little bit? You know, the fact of the matter is, like, I think when we think about like food, you think you got to recreate it the exact same way. That's not exactly the truth. Like, you should think about, this is the core of the thing. How do I then use that as sort of like a baseline so that I can create something that aligns better for me? So Charlie always talks about these sweet potato pancakes, and every time Charlie makes them, with the exception of the last time, they don't come out right. Largely because I think Charlie probably trying to follow exactly what I made, or nothing at all. Or I don't know what you're doing. But nevertheless, I think Charlie got to figure out, okay, what is the core element about this thing that he likes, and recreate it based on his own personal sort of like preference and ability. He made them. I don't think waffles are hard to make or pancakes are hard to make, but maybe there's something about that process that Charlie needs to re-examine in order for him to cook it the way that speaks to him.
Very true. Yeah. I love that. Okay.
It ain't got to be the same exact way every time.
It ain't got to be the same. Wow.
So I think if you think about like this idea of like recreating or retrying things, like part of the journey is like it doesn't always have to look the same way. And in fact, like food is in many ways chemistry. And so there may be elements of that, like of the recreation, that you can't recreate because it's about the environment in which it was cooked in, the type of stove that was used, a particular ingredient that may have been shipped from somewhere else that you don't have access to. So it really just depends on like where you are. You gotta understand the context of what you're doing, and most of the time we don't do that. Context is important.
Context is important.
And that's a word. That's beyond food.
Woo. Okay. All right. You heard it. Heard it here first. Chef Reese. His food be tasting like fine dining times 10.
You know, I don't know that that's the case. Because I don't really like, well, I probably shouldn't say that out loud.
Yeah.
I don't like a lot of fine dining. Because most of the time, it'd be these little ass portions of things that really don't make sense. There are some absolute exceptions. However, you know, things ain't always got to be the finest stuff. I mean, I was literally just listening to a podcast 5 minutes ago, and it was talking about like how black people turn like literally scraps into masterpieces. So it ain't gotta be fine dining in order for it to be a beautiful story.
He almost just opened up a can, but I ain't gonna open up the can. But I agree, as a culture, as a people, we do have the ability to turn anything into beauty.
Because we're magical, you know, like the fact of the matter is, like, in order to be the people like black folks, you had to literally like create scraps, and you had to turn scraps into things that like were edible. You had to make the best out of situations that were really shitty. Like, black people have been doing that forever. And now when you think about sort of like culture, you think about food, all those things are like literally created as a result of black folks. So we already got the things. It's just a matter of like being able to channel it and create the things that we want.
Boom. Okay, well, we out of here. We'll see you soon.